This is a fantastic gospel, and it sums up our entire faith. That is the Roman Catholic faith. If you don't like it, there are several other options. None of them good. This is our faith. Our faith is one of forgiveness. Now, do I have any 8th graders in here today? Are there any 8th graders from my school or any of the public schools that are going to have confirmation this year? Hey, parents, dime them out. Oh, outstanding. In the Navy, we called this being voluntold. Please stand up. Young lady, you're a beautiful young lady. You look really smart, too. What's your name? Mackenzie. That's one of those cool names. Okay, very good. Now, Mackenzie. They call you, your friends call you Mac? They will now. Okay. So, Mackenzie, what's the difference between readings, like the first reading we heard, which was beautiful, and the second reading? The first reading, as you know, Mackenzie, being a biblical scholar yourself, the first reading is always from the Old Testament, and the second reading is an epistle, which is a letter from somebody, usually Peter or Paul. You know this. James. You go to Mass all the time because you've got a cool family, and I know who they are. So here's the deal. So is everyone else now going to as well. What's the difference between the readings and the gospel? In the gospel, who is talking? And in what of the persons of God? Oh, outstanding. 5+ points on your oral exam at the end of the year. Now, why is this so important? Because when we hear the gospel, it is Jesus himself, God, the second person of the Holy Trinity, telling us, not asking us, proclaiming to us, not suggesting to us, directing us, not saying, pretty please, may I, by the way, a little whipped cream on top. And then we, because he wants us to be free-thinking creatures his Father created us as, get to make a choice. Some of you are old enough like me to remember Let's Make a Deal with Monty Hall. I used to love that show. Carol Merrill standing next to box number 2. And box number 2 would look really good. It would look like the better box. And then box number 1 and 3 would look dreadful. But any idiot would know that box number 3 or 1 was going to be where the big prize was. And like the herd of cows would be behind box number 2. And then like a lemming to the cliff, the dude, if it were a dude, would always choose the pretty box. And he would lose. Aren't we like that? We like attractive, nice, fun, shiny things. And oftentimes they are the things of the world, the things of Facebook and Snapchat and online garbage. And of course, we've gotten used to that because we're used to being online. See, when you talk about things and people online, is there any accountability? Does anyone call you out? No. So you get to be really not a nice person. And you get to just slam dunk people's reputations. You get to trash them. You get to humiliate them. You get to call them out in your mind. By the way, that happens all the time. That happens all the time. Do we have to forgive those people? Yes. We have to forgive just about everything, folks. So this morning, my hero in life, Pluto dog Maksym, decided while I was in the shower that he would pull down a shirt that I'd put on the counter in my bathroom. And he didn't realize, but was wonderfully happy to discover, my glasses were on that shirt. And then he said, don't I have the best daddy in the world? Because, of course, he's given me a chew toy that smells just like him. So now, about $900 later, we'll get new glasses. Did I forgive Pluto Dog? Of course I did. First of all, he's the world's greatest basset hound. But number two, there was no intent to harm me. But what if there had been? So let's take someone else. How about my brother Roy? I'm so happy this homily is being filmed. My brother Roy. Roy is a construction owner of a construction company in Grosse Pointe, Michigan. And he does incredible work. He turns beautiful English Tudors, 120 years old, he guts the inside and turns them into Bel Air or Beverly Hills types homes. I mean, he's done very well for himself. And Roy is if you ever want to meet the anti-Father John, that's Roy. He is 6'4", looks like Conan the Barbarian. And every good-looking, wonderful woman in high school chased after my brother like Mario Andretti. In fact, it got worse. There was even one time with this fantastic woman I had been dating for a while. When I was in law school, she was a young lawyer too. And I took her home, and she met my brother. And we get back in the car, and she says, John, your brother is gorgeous. Now, so Roy did a lot for my game. Do I forgive Roy for being my opposite? Of course I do. He's my brother and I love him. And then there are people that hurt us more. Moms or dads, grandma or grandpas, ex-husbands or ex-wives, sisters, brothers. I can hear it out there now, right out of The Wizard of Oz. Hey, lion, now you're getting personal. Brothers and sisters who hurt us horribly. And the question is, do we have to forgive them? I'm reminded of this all the time in my job here. I've gotten to know you guys pretty well in 2 years, and it's pretty incredible how close I've grown to many families here. And more than 90% of the people here are some of the most wonderful people you'll ever meet in your life. But once in a while, I'll get a letter. And they're always anonymous. You see, anonymous letters are written by those who do not possess the courage of their convictions to look a man or a woman in the face with honor and integrity, face them down and say, let's talk about this. The anonymous are written by those without honor and without integrity. So I'll get these notes, or my principal will get them. Sometimes they'll purport to be from a mysterious committee or a group. And sometimes they will make up horrible lies about someone's personal life. Do I have to forgive them? Yes. Yes. And this happens more often than you might think. And it happens to friends of mine who are on my staff or my faculty more often than you might think. And I must forgive them. You must forgive. Now, this comes home to me very, very, very solidly 2, 3, or 4 times a week, because that's how often, my friends, we have funerals here at St. Peter. I had 2 in a row, Friday and Saturday this week. And the thing that strikes you when you're doing a funeral mass is that this is over. The jury has returned. The verdict has been delivered. Now, thankfully, the vast majority of lives I walk with here have wonderful families, and the person has lived an incredible life. I buried a rock star yesterday, 90 years old. You know what this guy did for his wife? She has dementia. Actually, it was Fridays. Yesterday's was cool, fantastic person too. But on Fridays, his wife has dementia. And for the last 11 years that she's had dementia, he sat in a chair at her facility rather than going home to his bed and slept from his 80th birthday to his 90th birthday. You think he's going to heaven? I do. And so, when you're faced with death all the time, and my job engages death all the time, you're confronted with the fact that all of us day to day are walking toward that point when we're going to meet the high judge, and we are going to be standing in the dock. Last Tuesday, I had the great privilege of being able to join Archbishop Vigneron. I was the homilist for the annual Red Mass. And the Red Mass is where the legal community kind of kicks off the legal year, as it were. It's kind of a fictitious date, but it's celebrating the Holy Spirit coming down upon the legal community for the next year. And this is very important because the most powerful people in the world, people don't realize this, that affect regular, ordinary people more than anyone in the world, are judges. People who wear black robes like I used to wear, because they can impact your life immediately. And I reminded this group of jurists, as brother and sister jurists of mine, that someday all of us are going to be standing in a courtroom, in the defendant's seat, and Jesus Christ will be presiding. And we don't like to think of it that way, but that's just the truth. We're all here for not infinite time. It's a finite time. And all of us are going to face the Lord. And there's going to be what the State Department would refer to as a frank and candid conversation. The things we did great, the things we did badly. And many of us may be looking at a really close verdict. I know I will be. I'm looking at least 3 million years in purgatory. I'm counting on it. And that's if I cut a really good pretrial agreement. But here's the deal. I think the decision breaker, with the Virgin Mary looking on, begging her son to show us mercy, especially if you said a rosary or two once in a while. This guy, this gal, he and she forgave. This fellow or this lady, she held on to the grudge. She acted with spite. He acted with viciousness. How many times, ladies and gentlemen, have you had the opportunity to show mercy? Pure, unadulterated mercy. Where a relative comes to you and says, I'm in trouble, I need money. Mercy. I can't pay you back. Mercy. I have hurt you. I am sorry. Mercy. And how many times, when the Holy Spirit gave you this opportunity, did you slap it away? He will give you more opportunities. He will give you more time to show mercy. But remember, tick-tock, tick-tock. None of us know how long we are here. Final point. Remember, the Lord, just like our responsorial psalm told us today, He is kind and merciful. When the light is on in one of these confessionals, come in. Come in. He's waiting for you. Can you imagine that dynamic for a moment, ladies and gentlemen? The Lord is begging us to ask him for forgiveness. How insane is that? He is saying, please, my people, please come and see my priest and exercise your rights to forgiveness in the sacrament of reconciliation, so that you can join me and go to the place my Father has prepared for you. That's what forgiveness is. Jesus is going to judge us by one line that he says in the Gospels. The measure you use to forgive others is the measure I will use on you. Period. And he tells us in today's gospel, this is what will happen to you if you do not follow my word. We will be treated like the servant, the merciless servant, who then is treated without mercy. My friends, we have a kind and compassionate Lord, but he gives us a life to live, whether it be a short life or a long life. And I pray to God a long, long, long life for all of you, especially my teachers, because I don't want them going anywhere. And I want to laugh at them when they're 74 years old, still teaching. Remember, we have to ask him, and we have to show mercy. Mercy will be given to the merciful, and punishment and torture will follow the vicious and the merciless. God be praised always. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.